जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Hari, Gaura 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 Hari, Gaura 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 Hari, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Mayapur Chandra Gaura Hari, Nadiya Bihari Gaura Hari, Gaura 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 Hari, Gaura 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 Hari. Tagore Haribol, 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 Tagore Haribol, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Lord Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Devam Vishwapad Brahmant Parivraj Kacharya Astottar Satas Srimad is Divine Grace AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. एवं विष्णुपाद ब्रह्मंत विराज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतस्य श्रीमद् श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुर धाम की जय। गंगमय यमुनामाई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled Lord Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled Lord Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled Lord Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Guru and Gauranga Prabhupada की जय। ओम विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी राम नमस्ते सारस्वते गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी विशेष सुन्नवाद पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। Thank you for joining. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, contents of Gita summarized, verse number 60 to 64. Last section of this chapter, section 6 of this chapter. Very important verses. This whole section, Samadhi, very important verses. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Om Tat Sat. 2.60 Gita. Yatato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatini haranti prasavam manaha. Yatato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatini haranti prasavam manaha. यततो हि अपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमातीनि हरन्ति प्रसवं मनः. Synonyms. Yatata, while endeavoring, he certainly, api, in spite of, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Purushasya, of a man, vipaschitaha, full of discriminating knowledge, indriyani, of senses, the senses, pramatini, agitating, haranti, throw, prasavam, by force, mana, the mind. Translation by Joanne C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. I repeat, the senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Verse number 61. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत मत्परः वसेहि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत मत्परः वसेहि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वसेहि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता Tani, those senses, sarvani, all, samyamya, keeping under control, yukta, engaged, asita, should be situated, matparaha, in relationship with me, vase, in full subjugation, he certainly, yasya, one whose, indriyani, senses, tasya, his, prajna, consciousness, pratishtita, fixed, translation, one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as man of steady intelligence. Repeat. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. Verse number 62 and 63. These are very well known verses. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्तेषुपजायते संगात् संजायते कामात् क्रोधो अभिजायते 2.62 we are reading. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्तेषुपजायते संगात् संजायते कामात् क्रोधो अभिजायते ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषुपजायते संगात् संजायते कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते Dhyayata, while contemplating Vishayan, sense objects, Pumsa, of a person, Sangha, attachment, Teshu, in the sense object, Upajayate, develops, Sangat, from attachment, Sanjayate, develops, Kama, desire, Kama, from desire, Krodha, anger, Abhijayate, become manifest. Translation. While contemplating the objects of senses, the person develops attachment for them. And from such an attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. Repeat. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. Verse number 63. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Krodhat, from anger, bhavati, takes place, sammoha, perfect illusion, sammoha, from illusion, smriti, of memory, vibhramaha, bewilderment, smriti bhamsat, after bewilderment of memory, buddhinasa, loss of intelligence, buddhinasat, and from loss of intelligence, pranasyati, one falls down. Translation. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Please repeat. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. Hare Krishna. The intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Verse number 64, last verse, and we will try to understand. Ragadvesha vimuktayistu Vishayan indriyaicharan Atmavasyir videyatma Prasadam adhigacchati. Ragadvesha vimuktayistu Vishayan indriyaicharan Atmavasyir videyatma Prasadam adhigacchati. Ragadvesha vimuktayistu Vishayan indriyaicharan Atmavasyir videyatma Prasadam adhigacchati. Synonyms. Raga, attachment. Dvesha, it should be enviousness, but I think detachment or aversion. I think might be spelling correction here. Vimuktai, by one who has become free from. Two, but Vishayan, sense objects. Indriyehi, by the senses. Charan, acting upon. Atma Vasyehi, under one's control. Atma, one who follows regulated freedom. Prasadam, the mercy of the Lord. Adhigacchati, attains. Translation. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Please repeat. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Atma, note down that. That is the main regulated principle means. Okay, we'll try to understand. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chikshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Grim Etkrupa Tamaham Vande Sri Gurum Denatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram. Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्. रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. Let me mute. Hold on. Mute. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna. You are able to hear me, right? I'm not muted. Yes. Okay.
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
So, here we are in the section 6 of this Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna systematically presenting, that's why its contents of Gita summarized, started from Arjuna's surrender to a spiritual master, Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, understanding his deficiencies and defects, and he couldn't decide what to do, what not to do. So that's when he surrendered. That was section 1. Section 2, Arjuna, after surrendering, then Krishna started giving instruction. Before pre-surrender is there, that is one section. Section 2 is surrender itself, 2.7. Then 2.11 onwards, the Sanjaya is describing what's happening. There, Krishna started giving instruction. This is called Sankhya Yoga, which is the difference, explanation of the body and the soul difference. Basic fundamentals, which Arjuna was lacking, as he has given 5 reasons. I don't want to fight because compassion for my own family. I don't want to fight because there is no enjoyment, whom I am going to enjoy with. If they are killed, then sinful activity. If they are killed, I will incur sinful activity. Then destruction of dynasty, and I don't know what to do, whether to fight or renounce and go back, go to Farad. These are the reasons. These are the doubts expressed, arised in the heart of Arjuna. So now Krishna is answering that. So in the third section, Sankhya Yoga, body and soul. Then from verse number 30 onward, we see till 40, Sankhya. Then he's coming to Dharma, Karma. What is exactly activity? You forgot completely your actual Dharma of a Kshatriya. You are supposed to do your duty. You are telling opposite. So what's happening with you? So that Krishna is emphasizing that. And then he is going to systematically next. Sankhya to Karma, Karma to Nishkama Karma is presenting from 41. Before that is giving the benefit why we should perform Nishkama Karma, what happens, how we will be saved, at least minimum, at least we will get human birth in the next life. So then that Nishkama Karma, and then Krishna is bringing Bhakti, Samadhi, glimpse, just glimpse, not so much in great detail. That is given in 2 point. Right now we are in this last section, 6th section, which is called Samadhi, fixed up Krishna consciousness. It started with Arjuna is asking the question, where 3 questions he is asking. One who is fixed up in Krishna consciousness, it is called Sthita Prajna. Prajna means intelligence, Sthita means fixed intelligence. He exactly knows which direction to go, how to navigate in his life, in all activities. So he knows exactly. He's fixed. He doesn't have any dilemma what to choose, what to do, what not to do, how to do things. No, he doesn't have any of that. So what then Arjuna is asking, you explained last few verses before 54, almost at least 5 or more than 5 verses Krishna has explained. You have to follow, follow your intelligence. Intelligence must be sharpened. Use your intelligence, control your senses. It's almost like he said, fix up, become fix up. Who exactly this fix up means, what exactly this fixed up means, and what is its characteristics. So that's why Arjuna is asking, Arjuna was stata prajnasya kava samadhistasya kejo kim prabhaset kim asit kim rajeta kim. How does he sit? What is his, how does he sit? How does he speak? How does he walk? These are the 3 questions. Now Krishna is very systematically is presenting. First he is explaining, in our body there is a gross body, there is a subtle body. Gross body is what we see on the outer layer. These karmendriyas and jnanendriyas are there, the head and legs and hand, all these are there, especially the hands and legs and genitals, these are the karmendriyas which are working senses. And the jnanendriyas is our eyes. The biggest problem is with these jnanendriyas. The eyes, the ears, the tongue, the nose, not the skin, touch. These 5 are always looking like a TV antenna. It's always grabbing. It is like a magnet. Mind is also another way you can look at. Last week we defined in a different way. Today we can define that as a magnet. Mind is like a magnet. So it constantly it is accepting and attracting things. Depending on our purva vasana, we are bringing utaya, proclivities from the previous, and we can see that as Narsingh Chaturdashi is coming up, May 22nd, 25th, Tuesday, very, very important day. Please try to fast on that day, very, very important. Prahlad Maharaj has done, even in the past life. That's why Prahlad Maharaj is able to get to that level of bhakti to Narsingh Dev, because in the past life, he was not like a great devotee. Actually, in the past life, he was actually also associated with a prostitute. Then he did fasting by unknowingly. Narsingh Puran explains, unknowingly he did fasting along with even the prostitute also did. Both of them quarreled and then they did. So because of that, because unknowingly or knowingly also somebody does, and then he was able to attain. He was able to see, have the vision of the Lord, and he is able to get the mercy of Narada Muni also. So that's it's very, very important aspect to understand this fixed up consciousness. That's why here Krishna is presenting first this gross body, subtle body, how it operates. These karmendriyas are very, very always attracts things and gets agitated, as it is mentioned here. Dhyayato, contemplation is going on. The mind is the one which is the director of the senses. Above these 5 working, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, director is there. So which is the one which is directing in different ways to the external energy or the internal energy. We will go through different what you call solutions to this problem. So different solutions to the problem. So and then we will go through also the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he has mentioned, especially those who are in the Grihastha Ashram. Most of us are in the Grihastha Ashram. What instruction Mahaprabhu has given to those devotees. So we can understand the importance of it also in our life. So that's a gross body, subtle body is the mind, intelligence, false ego. Above the senses, mind is there. Above mind, intelligence is there. And then ego, real ego becomes false ego when we come to this material world. Then the soul, and then the super soul. So that is the platform. So that's why Krishna first thing he is saying is, one who is fixed up in Krishna consciousness, his mind is not bewildered. He is not going by mind's direction. It's not going by mind's direction. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. He gives up mind's dictations. Is depending on the sadhu and shastra and guru. That is the first and fundamental. So that's why he's clearing that first and foremost aspect. Rule number one, characteristic number one. We can look at a number of examples throughout. Bhagavatam begins with Narada Muni, Bhishma Pitama. You look at all these examples. So even Arjuna's case also, after he heard from Krishna, he exactly followed what Krishna instructed. So in all the examples in the Shastra, we see Prabhupada himself has followed like that. So whoever follows Sadhu and Shastra and Guru, not mind's dictation, that is a fixed up devotee. That is first. Next, Krishna is going further on the mind. He has given one whose mind is not disturbed despite many disturbances are coming. Somebody is provocating, agitating, anudvegam. So many things are happening. Happiness, distress, somebody is disturbing, criticizing, whatnot, those things. But still he is not disturbed because he is not operating on the platform of mind. There's one verse in Mukundamala Stotra, King Kulashekara is saying, let my relatives, let my friend, let my own family members, enemies, let them criticize. Let them criticize. My only business is to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. This lotus feet is compared with the umbrella. Umbrella which is covering the material whirlpool of desires and that fruitive desires. As the two lotus feet, let me be always serving the two lotus feet of the Lord and his devotees. Let me become attached. Let them criticize. Go on criticizing. I don't mind. I don't care. I'm not worried. The time is very critical. Time is very important. So let me be just immersed in this. So in this way is telling we can understand. So because what is important, people will say so many things. If we keep on thinking about that, then how much time we have? We have hardly very less time in this life. So how to utilize that? That is the main priority we have to see always. So in majority of the cases, in some cases we may have to think and do something, but majority of the cases, that's what we have to do, as King Kulashekara is saying. So that's why Krishna is emphasizing these first three verses. He is talking about the mind. We discussed in detail. Now today's verses from verse number 60 onwards, Krishna is mentioning, talking about senses all the way, 60, 61, 64, 65 or 66. All the way is talking about the senses, because senses is the biggest problem. Senses are attached, linked to sense objects. In 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we see that tips are the branches and tips. The tip is like the sense objects. As soon as it is in touch, it is seeing something. It is a form. Eyes is like a form. Ears is like a music, hearing. So like that, each sense has a sense object. So it is getting distracted into different things. So that's what is being explained because of the contemplation. So we can look at many examples. It is of the constant distractions throughout the life, and then how to resolve it. We look at the examples as we can see. If you look at even the car, if you look at when we are driving the car, the gross body, we are very much attracted by what car we want to buy and whatnot. The gross body, very decorative and very good looking, and colors and whatnot. So we are attracted by that gross body. And then what we pour in, depending on the octane rating, what we pour in, whether it's 87 or 93, obviously. So accordingly, it burns efficiently. It runs more miles. So accordingly, what we put into our body, into our mouth through the tongue, grains are Krishna Prasad. So accordingly, it changes the quality, the characteristic, the swabhav, the behavior of a living entity changes. Because what we intake, it has a significant effect. It has a significant effect. Because that is the regulated activity Prabhupada talks about in this. So that's the excessive attachment is happening. Because avirodha yukta priti and virodha yukta krodha. Avirodha yukta priti means excessive attachment, unrestricted attachment. We naturally will have attachment to our father, our kids, our family members, our friends, all that. But it shouldn't be excessively, means especially when we are attached on the bodily platform. And we are attached because in the last life, who was there? In the previous life, who was there? Next life, who's going to be there? So that we have to consider. That doesn't mean that there will not be emotions. There will be emotions, but underlying always this knowledge must be there, this practice must be there. More and more we become grounded in that, then we'll be able to more and more navigate in a right direction. So same with the car, and then your steering and your accelerator, how you use it is the like your the gross body, and then inside this gross body of the gross body, even the accelerator also you can say these are like the senses. But then the obviously the steering is like the mind, which is the actual controller, what direction and how much speed and everything. Yes, it depends on that. The accelerator, and the accelerator is connected to the other connecting rods and everything else, which we are not able to see. So not able to see. So the accelerator we can consider as a gross body. Then how we operate when it is shielded or protected, like in the especially if it is the cop police is there, then what we will do? We are very much regulated. We go exactly. And so even if we have radars also, if the police is there, we know, then we stop, we slow down, we follow the rules and regulations. Same way, when we are shielded by the association of devotees, when we are shielded by the chanting of the holy name, when we are shielded by these important festivals, Madhava Tidis, Narsingh Chaturdasi, Ekadasi, all these, there's so much mercy is there. When we are following those regulative principles, as it is mentioned, Videya Atma, then we are shielded, we are protected. And we know as long as we are in the association of devotees and we are following the direction and the guidance, then naturally that contemplation changes. It changes from one way to another way. Irregular, unrestricted to, it comes to restricted attachment. So then naturally our mind will not be diverted. Mind is focused because of that association, because of that attachment, transferring these senses towards the Lord's senses. So that is a natural. So, but we have to follow. That's why these important dates are very important. So, otherwise the accelerator we tend to fast, even though we all know we'll get ticket, as Prabhupada explained in the first verse of Nectar of Instruction. There is a pastime also. As soon as this book came out, Prabhupada, Nectar of Instruction, translated, Prabhupada Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given Prabhupada Goswami instruction. Those instructions are translated into two things: Nectar of Instruction and Nectar of Devotion. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Upadesamrita. So this is Upadesamrita is very, very important book. It has only 11 verses. So as soon as they read, they saw the book and they read, and then they saw the last verse where it is Vaikuntha. What is that? More than Vaikuntha is Vaikuntha. I forget. More than Vaikuntha is Govardhan, higher than the Vaikuntha is Govardhan, Tatrapi, Govardhana, Rasotsavat, like that it goes, I forget. So above Vaikuntha is Govardhan, above Govardhan is this one, what you call, Radha Kund. Then they all want to go to Radha Kund. They want to leave here and then go to Radha Kund and do japa and chant the holy name and all. This is what devotees said. Then Prabhupada immediately told, just see. They are like acting like monkeys. As soon as they saw, they want to jump directly to Radha Kund. They just want to, as though like they are in the Raganuga Bhakti, as though they are like a spontaneous devotion to Lord Krishna. They just directly want to jump. So first let them do first verse. Verse number 1 they forgot. They are directly jumping to the topmost level of devotion. That's where Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Instruction, or Nectar of Devotion, as we see in Bhagavad Gita also. Krishna is not presenting pure devotion service until chapter 12. He is presenting very systematic. Even in this chapter we see, gradually is presenting from Sankhya Yoga to Karma Yoga to Nishkam Karma to then glimpse of Bhakti Samadhi is giving in chapter 2. He is not giving so much detail about the Bhakti. So that we can understand, because we have to come to that gradual progress and step by step. So that's why these verses it is mentioned the contemplation, as it is meant, jayato vishyan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate sangha sanjayate kama kama krodat bijayate krodat bhavati sammoha Sammohas Spriti Vibraham Buddhinasat Spriti Vamsat Buddhinasat Pranasati. So this is called material activities. Material activities because of the contemplation on the material objects. One who is constantly in this material world and doing only, he is interested only. Let me somehow or the other sustain, maintain, enjoy. I don't care about anything else. This is the life means this is it. Nothing else. Nothing beyond it. And this is called material act. That's what is explained. But there is other side of it. It is called spiritual activity, spiritual life. What it is compared to the 10 steps which Rupa Goswami is mentioning. Adav Shraddha, starting with faith. The contemplation is not on the material objects. Rather, contemplation is in the association of you. Contemplation is on the chanting the holy name. Contemplation is on the hearing. Contemplation is on the lotus feet of the Lord. Contemplation is in the doing arati, serving the Lord, serving the devotees. So on and so forth. So many things are there. These are all the adavs, starting with the adavs of the having a faith. Then you are associating with the devotees. Tata sadhu sangha, then bhajana kriya, then you are taking initiation, surrendering. Then it goes on, anartha nivurti, then nishtha, then ruchi, asakti, bhava. This is a step by step progress. As it is mentioned step by step, 2 verses. As soon as your contemplation is so strong, it is just like I can explain as I was mentioning. More and more we become attached. It's just like a movie. You watch a movie or anything, we have intensified activity, anything we do, just like and association, intensified association and activity we do, more and more we remember that, more and more we want to do, even if it is irreligious, still mind keep on telling, let's just do this time only. It keep on telling us, just like we watch movie, something within that movie we may like something because of past whatever, everybody has different karma vasanas. So we like, and then we watch again and again. More we watch, more we contemplate on the particular aspect of it. That affects significantly because contemplation is leading to the next. Jhayato Vishayan Pamra Sangasteshu Pajayate. Because of the constant contemplation, then the association with that mode, 3 modes of material nature. What mode? Mostly passion and ignorance. That's what is happening. Then automatically attachment, then automatically anger. So frustration and anger, because naturally everything doesn't happen the way we like. So that's why it is like the movie reels. So movie has so many reels. The mind has so many impressions. That's why the first thing we are supposed to do is the samskara. But in Kali Yuga, who is following? We are not being told at that time. Now we are hearing this, that we are supposed to do Garbhadan Samskara, Jatakaran Samskara, everything, hair cutting, everything. There is a connection with Lord Vishnu. It is not just significant. We are being told only, oh, you do the ceremony. But what is the significance? Why we do? We don't know. But now we are realizing Samskara, it is making an impression. The consciousness change, the mind is getting actually imprints of Lord Vishnu. The priest supposed to explain. Actually, there is Lord Vishnu's instruction in each of those activities. The hair, the feeding the grain, everything is offered to Lord. Actually, even including the hair. That's why in Tirumala and other places, even the hair is been offered to the Lord. So Lord is taking mercifully and is giving instruction. Somehow or the other, you come to me and offer things to me. Doesn't matter what it is. Still, at least you are developing attachment. You understand what is the next step. How to grow in your life, how to mold your life. So that's what the samskara makes us to change, transform this contemplation from material to spiritual activities. Otherwise, it becomes a great problem. So that is while driving the car, as I mentioned, the police is there, then we are very much regulated. If police is not there, we will not regulate. We will go on our speed. And sometimes we get caught, sometimes we don't get caught. Many times we do that. We all, even devotees. Don't think that this verse Krishna is telling just for ordinary people. No, this is also for devotees. We are not at the highest platform like Prabhupada is at the highest level. So we are not at that level. We are following Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. That means we are practicing. We are still practitioners. So that's why it is very important to have that regulation. That means assume that always be in the association of devotees as much as possible. Take shelter of the association of devotees as much, and the chanting the holy name. These 2 things are very important. That is like the protection, the police. Then we will be regulated to some extent. And then we are also then we can also see that next is mostly we can see also in the previous days in Prabhupada's time, everybody used to stay in the temple. So everybody, most of the people used to stay in the temple. Doesn't matter what ashram. Grihasthas were there, brahmacharis was there. Only out of these 4 ashram, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, all 3 ashram, there is complete regulation. There is complete restriction actually. The first ashram, brahmacharya, and then sannyas and vanaprastha. The first and third and fourth, they are complete restriction. They are supposed to be very regulated in their life, throughout their life. Only for grihastha there is regulation is given. I mean, there is not so much. Yes, you can have some kind of free, means you can enjoy to some extent. But that also there is a regulation is given. But for first and third and fourth ashrams, complete full regulation. They cannot do. They have to be very much restricted. Austerity and charity, penances, sacrifices. They have to be fully engaged. They have to utilize very strictly. Otherwise, they will be implicated more. But for grihastha, more liberal and more mercy is there actually. If we follow it sincerely within the grihastha ashram, then we don't need to even take next ashram. We can perfect our life within the grihastha, provided we follow this Krishna conscious way. So now, because of that, Prabhupada has established, and Acharya has established this process. When we are within the temple, what's happening? Naturally, we are being regulated. What they are doing. So, waking up, Mangalarti, then they are attending and chanting the holy name, serving the Lord and devotees, touching the Lord, feeding the Lord, cooking for the Lord, so many services. The physical service also helps. Actually, our jnanendriyas are always trying to grab onto different things because of the attachment to the other sense objects. Many lifetimes, right? So many impressions within the mind, as I mentioned. Not just one movie really has only so many, 2.5 hours, 3, depending on the movie. Imagine how many movies, how many lifetimes. One movie which we like, we have attachment to some character in it, some activity in it. Then we watch again and again. Imagine how many lifetimes we have went through, and then depending on how many activities, how much intensity, what activity we have done, those thoughts keep coming. As soon as our senses are seeing that, get in touch, immediately that brings forth, mind is bringing forth that past activity from past life along with the current that interaction. Then automatically we get trapped into that network of, just like the bird gets attracted by the grain, and then immediately this hunter gets throw the net, and then we are bounded. There is then grounded, done with the life. So that's how we are being grounded constantly, day after day. So that's why it is explained there. They used to, Prabhupada has devised this process, Acharya has devised this process where constantly we are being under the regulation, where within the temple they used to be completely throughout the day, they are constantly engaged in fully service. So following this process of divine association of the Lord and devotees, following this Bhakti Yoga process sincerely. Then naturally they are regulated. But now the things changed in last 20-30 after Prabhupada left. Even in Prabhupada later stages, 74, 75, especially 75, 76 onward, rapidly it came to now very few. Only in Mayapur and big temples, LA and few other places, a lot of devotees are there and staying in temple. But otherwise in most of the places, hardly few, only except those who are pujaris. Rest, everybody is outside. So then how to regulate? Unless we ourselves prepare a plan and regulate, then understand this instruction and regulate ourselves, then how will we be able to regulate? So that's why we need to, here it is clearly given how will be, just like the glow. Yeah, and also we have to avoid the offenses. One thing is the solutions will be associating with devotees and taking prasadam, and then avoiding the offenses and then criticizing, because they automatically, if you keep on doing offenses and also keep on performing sinful act. Another thing is, as Prabhupada explains, that as Parikshit Maharaj is explaining, Manye Kunjara Sautayot. That means somebody is hearing and then is keep on after hearing also. First of all, one who is very intelligent, after seeing what's happening, somebody is getting caught irreligious activity, then his God is punished. Then by seeing that itself, he stops his sinful activity. He stops that irreligious. But one who is sometimes the second category is one who sees, not only sees, but he goes through that activity. He himself gets, get the punishment. But still, the second category, he will get, okay, next time I will not do. But the third category is despite going through hearing and seeing ourselves again and again, go through that. This is the third category. So that is that most of us are in this category. So that's why we have to be very careful and how to follow, especially the offenses, offending devotees, those who are dedicated, especially the pure devotees of the Lord, is the biggest problem. That will automatically brings us down. All our pious credits, especially, gets immediately we become the implicated. So we'll be come to the fruitive activity mentality. We constantly engage in religious activity. So that's why we have to be very careful of not offending devotees, and then we're not criticizing. Then we are losing whatever we are taking the other people karma. So that's why people don't allow you to touch the feet, because that means whoever is touching, then the person is taking their karma. Prabhupada is obviously most merciful, so that's why he allowed. Lord Nityananda Prabhu used to allow. So because otherwise, that's what person has to take the karma of the other person who is touching. So that these things are very, very important to understand. So then we also see, yeah, serving the Lord and devotees, chanting and hearing Archana, and also worshipping the Lord. Yeah, Archana is very important actually at home, offering Tulsi leaves. Just like the glowworm is meditating constantly, the bee is trying to kill. Bee is trying to, kill the glowworm. That glowworm is constantly observing and meditating, contemplating on that bee, seeing constant. It becomes a bee because of the contemplation. So that's why the sense and sense object, to the degree we are attached, to the degree we are contemplating again and again, watching the things or doing things, especially the eating, sleeping, mating, defending. These four things must be regulated to the degree. And then constantly, as Manya Kunja Sautra, as I was explained, Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami, you are telling perform austerity, you are telling do penance, you are telling sacrifices, but again and again doing the same thing and again going back and engage in sinful activities, like chanting the holy name, but at the same time, these will automatically nullify my sinful activity. I can chant and then I can also perform, continue to perform. It is like watering on the fire. So then we are not going anywhere. We are staying as same place. And then if you perform any, do sinful act, if you do any offenses and criticizing, that's it. We'll even further go down. Then it takes I don't know how many lifetimes to even to come back to that state where we left off. So that's why it is very important to not to do those criticizing and offending devotees. Now, so let's see this example of especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing. From Kulina Gram, there's a Kulina Gram in close to West Bengal, in the Bengal area. Kulina Gram, there we have wonderful devotees. This is coming in the Haridas Thakur sub branch. Sacharaj Khan, Gunaraj Khan's family. Gunaraj Khan is the greatest devotee who has written Sri Krishna Vijaya book. In his family, almost he has many sons, I think. So one of them is Satyaraj Khan, and then his son is Ramananda Vasu. So one time Haridas Thakur in Chaturimasa period spent his time to chant the holy name of the Lord and distributed his mercy to this family, this Khan's family, Satyaraj Khan and Gunaraj Khan family. So, and then by Haridas Thakur's mercy, then the whole Kulina Gram, Mahaprabhu has told, whoever, even a dog can be delivered, whoever is there from Kulina Gram, then the Mahaprabhu also gave him service. That's why it's important. By the associating with pure devotee, how this contemplation can be transformed. That's why the association of pure devotee is very important. And that is given here. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Satyaraj Khan is asking and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing. So before that, Gruhastha Vishayami Kei Mora Sadhane Sri Mukhe Agna Kura Prabhu Nivedi Charane. Satyaraj Khan said, my dear Lord, being in a householder and a materialistic man, I do not know the process of advancing in spiritual life. I therefore submit myself into your lotus feet and request you to give me orders. So this is Satyaraj Khan came to Radhayatra. Mahaprabhu asked him to come. So one time he's asking from Kulina Gram, Satyaraj Khan and his son Ramananda Vasu used to come. And then Mahaprabhu gave also service of silk ropes. It is mentioned the silk ropes which we used to tie Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra Maharani to bring from the altar to again to the Rath Yatra cart, step by step, very slowly, because it's so heavy. So many devotees carry the Lord, but still they cannot hold. So every step they stop, and then finally they take. So they use silk ropes, and Mahaprabhu told to bring silk ropes, one service. And Mahaprabhu tells the silk ropes are nothing but the Lord Ananta Sesha. Those ropes are Lord Ananta Sesha. So non-different. And Lord Ananta Sesha is expanding himself to 10 different forms in serving the Lord. So great service. Anybody, how can we get the service unless we have received mercy? Haridas Thakur has given the mercy. So that's why they received so much mercy that Mahaprabhu himself has given a service, permanent service of bringing silk ropes to Lord Jagannath Radhayatra. How important it is. You can understand what is the benefit of serving, associating a pure devotee even for a fraction of a minute. We take it granted, we take it very lightly. Rather, whenever we are engaged in service, associate, even giving a water, giving a fruit, whatever, even some money, charity, by being humble, by being trying to serve that person within our capacity, doesn't matter, even if it's not money, just associating itself, seeking some transcendental knowledge from them. By that, and then naturally that contemplation, the absorption, more we are more and more we are inclined, then we will remember. Actually, the contemplation will change. Our attitude of contemplating material objects will change it to spiritual objects more and more. Even that's why even sometimes within family members, some are not inclined, some are not following Krishna. They don't want to follow Krishna. They want to follow their just like many others do. They just want to follow material life. They want this life is nothing but just simply enjoyment. So then they want to do that. For them, the best way to resolve, best way to transform anybody like that is to bring them to somehow the just association of the purity. Whenever they come, sadhus, time to time, then we should bring them. And we can see this service how much important. Prabhupada's father, what he used to do. Prabhupada's father, he was hardly a merchant, cloth merchant, it's not much money. He used to only spend time only 6 hours or 7 hours, less than 8 hours. They used to come back and then do arati and worship the Lord and chanting. He used to serve the devotees. Even with the money he used to have, he used to serve the devotees like anything. Every day he used to have many guests. And every time they used to ask them, bless my son, become a devotee of a Radharani. That was his asking. That is the only ask he was doing. You can imagine how much pure and sincere desire his father had. And he is serving always Vaishnavas. So that's why naturally we can see the whole family, generations will get benefit, one person. So that's why all acharyas we can see that service attitude is a very, very important aspect. As we can see here, Satyaraj Khan, what's happening here is, Satyaraj Khan asking, and then Mahaprabhu is instructing. Prabhu kahena Krishna seva, Vaishnava seva, nirantara karo Krishna nama sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya said, replied, without cessation, continue chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. Whenever possible, serve him and his devotees. That means three things. Nirantara karo Krishna Naam Sankirtan. And then Krishna Seva and Vaishnava Seva. These three things are very, very important. If you want to sum it up, everything, this is all it will conclude to. We can see again and again. Association of devotees, serving devotees, and then chanting the holy name again and again we see. Mahaprabhu is instructing Sanatana Goswami also. Mahaprabhu instructed Narahari and Raghunandan Das, Raghunandan Thakur, and then one more, three devotees, different instruction, but it is on the same line. So we see that. Tara Madhya Sarva Sreshtu Nirantara Naam Loilo Paye Krishna Prema. Chant the holy name. How will we chant? Yes, you can do 4 rounds, 8 rounds, come to 12 rounds, 16 rounds, naturally, gradually. But other than this chanting of the holy name, take either a clicker or get something like what you call this calculator kind of a thing on the finger. You can order from Krishna.com, which is $1 or something. Where you can extra time while we are working. Meantime, you can remember within the mind and then keep on chanting in this way, our mind, because contemplation has to change means holy name. There is no other way, as it is mentioned in Kevalastakam, as it is mentioned. This Padma Purana is mentioned. Harer Namayva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva 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 Gatiranya. 3 times it is mentioned. Same thing is mentioned in Kevalastakam also again and again. Aho Dukkam Dukkam Dukkataram. What is that? I forget. Where it is mentioned, I am thinking this material world as a jewel. Actually, it is a broken piece of glass. But Harer Namaiva Kevalam, that whole 10 or 8 or 10 verses are there. Kevalastakam. In that also it is the same thing. It is again and again so much misery, distress. But I am not realizing. I am thinking this is jewel. This is the great happiness. But actually, I am not realizing. Now I realize that actual jewel is the holy name. But I am thinking the opposite. So that's why here it is very, very important instruction. So Satyaraj Khan again is asking now. Satyaraj bole Vaishnava chini be ke mane? Ke Vaishnava? Ke hatandra samanya lakshane? You are saying Vaishnava, Sarv Vaishnava. How do you know? This Lord Shiva also told the same thing to Parvati. More than serving a Lord, serving his devotees. And Gita also Krishna is saying that in last 18th chapter. So he is asking, upon hearing this, Satyaraj said, how can I recognize a Vaishnava? Please let me know what a Vaishnava is. What are his common symptoms? And then Prabhu told, Prabhu kahe yandra mukhe suni ekabar Krishna nama sei puja sreshta sabakar. Lord Chaitanya replied, whoever chants the holy name of Krishna just once is worshipable and is the topmost human being. And then further mentioned, Eka Krishna nama kare sarva papa kshaya. Navavida Bhakti Purna Nama Haite Hoy. By simply chanting the holy name of the Lord, it will naturally, automatically, the 9 kinds of devotion services, starting with Sravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atma, all of them will automatically, the benefits of all that will come by simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna. Once a person is relieved from all sinful activities, and also he can complete the process. The 9 kinds of process just by simply chanting the holy name of the Lord. So we can see. So this about the Haridas Thakur's association is mentioned in Adilila 10th chapter. Tandra Upasakta Yata Kulina Grama Jana Satyaraj Adi Tandra Krupara Bhajana. Haridas Thakur has given his mercy. So that's why he is able to come to that. So, and then Mahaprabhu is further instructing later on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing to not to eat more than required, and not to also dress, do not dress luxuriously, as mentioned, Antalila. Bala na kaibe, ara bala na parive. Do not eat the delicious food stuff, do not dress luxuriously. So because that is what is causing. So it's okay if we eat prasadam, fine, but naturally at some time we have to come to regulation, otherwise overeating anything is not good. For Lord, yes, we can offer hundreds of items. It's very important. Nursing Chaturdasi, as it is explained in the past life, Prahlad Maharaj is he was a Vasu Sharma, and then he had also his family. He had almost 5 sons, and 4 of them are very much regulated and great devotees. And then, but this son, Prahlad Maharaj, was not. He was on a bad character. Actually, he was associated prostitute. He was quarreling, and then one day this happened. And then both of them fasted like that. Then the next life he became son of Hiranyakashipu. That lady became heavenly Apsara in heavenly planet. Later on, she also became devotee after enjoying for some time. So because of nursing Chaturdasi, they fasted. But because of that, they are able to come to that. So their Acharya is explaining that day we should fast, and that day also we should ask. And also told nursing, any desire, you ask, you desire something, you can get. Nursing Dev is very merciful, and so the best desire to ask is, let me not have any material desires. Let me be always serving. Let me be not attracted by Maya, and serving the engage in pure devotion, serving the lotus feet of spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. These are when we request humbly, sincerely, and following in the footsteps of under the direction of Sri Prabhupada, by sincere our prayers and our attitude or mood, then we will be able to be delivered very quickly and easily. Otherwise, there is no way. Why the sadhana bhakti? By keep on practicing, and because we are constantly also engaging in sinful activities, only way we can be delivered is in the association of devotees and following this chanting and hearing, and also this festival, the important dates, the Ekadasi, and serving Tulsi Marani, serving Prabhupada. Then we will be able to very quickly, rapidly, because mercy, as I mentioned, the protection. One thing we can control, like it is mentioned in this verse number 60, what it is telling. Even the man of discrimination, still you will be forced to act like Vishwamitra. So much tapasya, so much tapasya, so many big stalwart, but you cannot control. How will you control? One, we must have a mercy. What is happening? Like for Pandavas, how they are able to control, or this great Prahlad Maharaj, how Ambarish Maharaj, they have the complete mercy of the Lord, because the devotee is acting, trying to follow as much sincerely as much as possible. So that's why Lord's mercy protection is there. So that's why even if they are still on the sensual platform, they haven't perfected, but Lord will protect. Lord will make sure that even if you are come across, we are not supposed to watch, like Ajamila is watching a prostitute engaged in sinful activity, then immediately got into the, he was attached, and then he went into that same sinful life. But even in that situation, if we have complete mercy of the Lord, we are following that sincerely, then naturally, even at that instance also, we will be protected. If we are not protected by the mercy of the Lord because of our attitude or not regulation, not followed, then immediately we will get implicated. As soon as any of the sense objects, senses, the jnanendriyas especially, these things are get in touch immediately. Just a matter of hours. Sometimes it's even right away also. Because to the degree we are attached from past lives, karma vasanas are there. To that degree we become immediately. So there is somehow we see that also many times, results and reactions, how we immediately become. Sometimes it could be translated as health problem, translated different problems in life because of this. Obviously, Lord is very merciful. The sinful activities, reactions doesn't come so quickly. It takes time, because otherwise we cannot survive. Human life we cannot survive. That's why they are giving only 50% or 25% of the balance in each and every life. So because otherwise we can't survive. Every day it's going to be a big problem. So that's why they give only some portion. Once you remove that portion of sinful activity, then the remaining portion, you can remove that balance, everything, when we perform Krishna conscious activities sincerely. Karmani nirdahat kinchud bhakti vajam. Even whatever proclivities inside the heart, even whatever balance is there yet to become for this life, everything can be destroyed, removed by very sincere endeavor, very regulated, and completely depend on the mercy. Despite going through so much chanting, so much above in service, everything we might be doing, but still at each and every step, each and every day, we must depend on mercy of the Lord. If minute we think that we have done so much, we are aloof, we don't take shelter of the mercy of the Lord, then that's it. That immediately we are captured by Maya, like anything. So Durga Devi is right there with 10 hands, with the Trisul. So to capture anybody who is not completely attached to the Lord, she's her job. That is her job, to be make sure that those who are not ready for Lord service, attached to the Lord, then they are supposed to be here in this material world. So that's why that's her job. So that's why we have to be careful not to be change this, transform this contemplation, transform this anger. Anger should be used in those who are atheists, envious people. We can use the anger on them, but so it takes long time. And then as much as possible, try to read books, try to hear books, as Pankaj Angri Prabhu and Janivas Prabhu. Are you reading 2 hours a day? That's what Prabhupada has instructed. So are you reading 2 hours a day? But it's a gradual progress. So Krishna will arrange the time. We may not have time now to chant even, but Krishna will arrange time. It's a gradual process. To the degree we surrender, to the degree we are engaged in service, then to the degree. Otherwise, how many times we might have associated with pure devotees? How many times we remember? We can many times we don't even remember. Even one service we have done, one association, one instruction we received from the pure devotees, from the sadhus. Sri Prabhupada, disciples of Sri Prabhupada. Personally, we might have heard, but we don't even remember because the intensity is not there, receptivity is not there. So that's why that effect is not there. They are pure, but we are not pure. So obviously, it must be both. So Prabhupada, as soon as he took the first instruction, first association with spiritual master, he is pure, and he is sincere, everything. So then immediate transformation is huge. So result is immediate, rapid. So, but if that's why we need to come to that, means understand, and gradually we have to take steps to be served, to at least have that attitude. Then naturally Lord will arrange things, and then we will remember things. Then Lord will arrange, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given a service to them, Kulinagram, devotees, bring silk robes. And Ramanujacharya also, how Ramanujacharya, first service he has got, first instruction from, I think, I forget the devotee name, not Kulasekar, somebody else. He has told, bring water from the Ganga, that lake also, I forget, to Lord Varadaraj every day. That was the first service he has received. And then you can see, so without serving the Lord, without, how will the instruction is received? Because Lord is seeing his attitude, his devotion, his attachment, and his sadhana, his regulation. He is seeing, and the Lord is arranging. He is not some Lord is seeing within our heart. The super soul is there. He is the one arranging. How we, otherwise, to the degree, if we are not sincere, then automatically we keep on implicating. Automatically keep on, these sense objects are dragging. As soon as the attachment will keep on popping up, like the bubbles, the antennas keep bringing one channel to another channel, this news to that news. As we every day, especially during now, it's too much, so many news. Wherever you see in the internet, YouTube or Facebook, anything, so much, everybody wants hits on these things. So they put all kinds of titles and whatnot. They try to allure and grab us. So we have to be cautious how we act, how we dress. It says how the person dresses, how he eats. We can judge what mode he is operating on, what consciousness he is operating on. So that's what. So that's why we have to be careful how we dress. Obviously, in Growth Ashram, there is a certain way, especially if we are an IT job, then there's certain things we have to do. But all right, but naturally, it is a gradual progress. When we realize what is important, what is not important, what is a need, what is a want, gradually we will realize, and then we have to follow it. Otherwise, we can go on spending, we can go on utilizing. It is our activity, our money, everything is ours. Then how will we be able to come out from this contemplation? Because it's all about, actually everything belongs to the Lord. So how we utilize it very carefully, every bit of it. Prabhupada was very careful. Every paisa, he was asking, what happened to this paisa? So he used to calculate. Even when he was about to leave his body also, that time also, he sent somebody in Vrindavan to get something. I forgot what that was. And he gave 2 rupees to get something. Then he brought back, and then he gave only few little bit coins or some paisa, very little. And he told, why? How come? Why you spend this much? What happened to the rest? The Prabhupada was so much cautious to the last minute, last breath. So that is what Krishna conscious, fixed up Krishna conscious person means. He is very careful in each and everything. He is not aloof from anything. Each and every activity, practical. He is very practical. Prabhupada was very practical. He's not just simply, actually, he was a very practical person. Prabhupada was instructing everybody in a practical way. That's why he has performed marriage ceremonies also. He has, even those who are fallen down, he's seeing, because he knows how contemplation works. Those who are fallen down from sannyas, from grostha, sinful activities, still he used to give them mercy, bring them and educate them somehow or the other, keep on bringing them. He never wanted to change anybody, even if they have president or vice president. He never wanted to remove them, despite they have so many things. And he used to reduce. He used not to so much chastisement. Sometimes he used to speak in the philosophy just to understand that, make that point, And that's it. After that, he used to be very peaceful. Even people, devotees used to very much complain about the other devotees who are engaged in the sinful activity of the Prabhupada. Then what you have to do? Yes, the kings used to have multiple wives. So now, yes, well, what can be done? What can be done? This is what the material world means. So sometimes we fall down if we are not careful. So then, then Prabhupada used to say, yeah, Jan Maitunadi Gruhamedi Tucham. So that I used to quote and explain. Then devotees can understand. Whoever is fallen down, they can understand. So and then later on, he used to be just go on with his regular duties. So because pure devotee is always fixed, is not agitated by anything. It doesn't matter what's going on, even in his disciples also. So because he is always thinking how to engage each and every aspect, he is depending on the mercy of the Lord. Every day when he is praying also, he is always depending on the mercy of the Lord. He is not independently acting. He is not following his mind's dictations. He is following Sadhu and Shastra and Guru. Obviously, Super Soul is directing the Lord. Who needs what exactly is going on within the heart of that living entity, who is getting in touch with him. So exactly knows. Prabhupada, that's why many disciples are telling exactly. He went through that my whole body, whole lifetimes after lifetime, everything he knows exactly. Immediately when he delivers lecture, when he instructs, without him speaking, Prabhupada used to say. So because Super Soul is directing what this person is, and then by seeing also, as I mentioned, Vaishnava pure devotee knows exactly as soon as you are in touch with him, he knows what's happening, what's your consciousness. So by just looking at you, so that is that automatically that details naturally will be revealed by the super soul. So that is the duty of the pure devotee. Super soul is coming outside as Chaitya Guru inside the super soul, and outside is coming as a pure devotee, a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. So, yeah, any questions? We'll continue to discuss. These verses are very important. So, we'll continue to discuss next week also on the same verses. Because this is the biggest problem we all have to face, this contemplation, attachment, unrestricted attachment, no proper planning, no proper goal. We have goal for any interviews, for any jobs. We have we carefully follow, very methodically. We don't want to miss it. Exactly goes in time, prepares very well. But since that end goal, same intensity, same planning is not there for spiritual life, so that slowly, gradually, we have to change that gear. We have to switch the gears from that gear to spiritual life. We have to balance both, and naturally, Krishna will allow us to more and more divert into more and more spiritual activities, transform each. Otherwise, it is like a market vairagya. Prabhupada explaining, giving that example. Don't jump to verse number 9. Don't go to Radha Kund. First, control your 6 things. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udro pasta vegam. So that means tongue. Tongue must only take Krishna Prasad. That is the biggest problem. So we must take only Krishna Prasad as much as possible. Completely make it zero. No, nothing which is not offered to Krishna. So more we do that, then we are better off. Otherwise, the grains means simple activity. We are taking somebody's consciousness right away. So that's why Prabhupada never used to take. Even in the flight also, they used to take once in a while milk or something he used to take. But other than that, he never used to take. They used to carry prasad. We can also carry, actually. Many people carry. It's just sometimes we get so much embarrassed to carry all these things. But let them think what they need to think. We need to think how we progress in spiritual life. Nobody is going to come when we are going to leave this body. Nobody is going to help. So it is only our consciousness. So we are the ones we have to face those things. That's why we have to be careful how we plan our life. The tongue must be controlled. Then automatically the tongue chanting of the holy name automatically will control other things. The anger, the mind, the genital, the belly. So it's all automatically controlled. Tongue is the first control, and then tongue must chant, and then ears must hear, and then naturally try to use your hands and legs in serving the devotees, taking the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees, dust of the, and then taking the water, wash the lotus feet of devotees, pure devotees especially, and then charanamud, their remnants, remnants, maha prasad, these 3 things. These are very important. That's how Narada Muni became a great devotee. That's how we can see constantly many of the devotees. We can see many examples in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam. By simply associate, most of them, Kripa Siddhas, whoever got liberated, whoever got very quick mercy is by the Kripa Siddha only, not through Sadhana Siddha, very, very few, very, very few. So that's why we obviously we are not of that caliber to come to that few category. So that's why we must depend on this mercy of Tulsi Maharani, mercy of Srila Prabhupada, mercy of his disciples, and sadhus, and then we can really come out of this contemplation. Otherwise, there is no possibility. We can try to become Vishwamitra, and then we fall down again from there also. So that will be the biggest danger if we follow that route. Okay, any questions on the Google Meet? And then we'll come to the phone.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for today's class. Wonderful institutions.
Yes.
My question today is, Prabhuji, you were saying like excessive attachment is not good, but then concern for some problems which are happening with relatives is like okay, you said. So how can we differentiate between our consciousness, whether it's just being enough or whether it's being too excessively attached?
It's a, attachment must be there, like the kids and family members, friends, as I told, but it should be based on, based on also they are the servants of the Lord, they are the devotees of the Lord. Even if they are not devotees, then we should see that they are also servants of the Lord, part and parcel of the Lord. Let me try to bring them to Krishna consciousness. In that way, we should be attached. Natural attachment will be there, but gradually we have to mold that to Krishna conscious attachment. Then that will help. Otherwise, emotions will erupt like anything. So something happens, emotions come very quickly, because if you don't mold that attachment into Krishna conscious, but if you mold them into Krishna consciousness, we are also operating in that way, trying to bring them into Krishna consciousness by whatever, depending on their level, then it will not be so much, it will not be so, it will not damage so much our consciousness, especially. Otherwise, it can really take us down. Also, sometimes we have seen devotees almost go into depression and whatnot, to the degree whereas if you lost loved one. But we have to understand what Lord Krishna's plan is. Again and again we are seeing Lord's plan, especially in COVID situation. It's a huge loss. ISKCON and outside people also have seen so many loved family members. But Lord's plan, we cannot control Lord's plan. What Lord has in it, in His plan. So what is best, we don't know. Sometimes it's and everybody, whenever they are born, they have already certain things in their life. So then exactly, Lord is taking into all those into consideration, karma. So we have to look at that way also. Sometimes it's very difficult to understand, especially those who are the very pure devotees or very sincere devotees, why things are happening. But we can't see it on the face of it. So gradually, as more and more we hear, more and more we take the mercy of the Lord, take shelter of the Lord, then gradually we'll be able to be come out of that. We'll not have that dilemma, or will not lose faith that why Lord did it this way or that way. So He's the best. He knows exactly the best what's supposed to be done, and so that's why we should be prepared. So that's why all family members should be prepared to be dependent on the Lord's mercy and taking shelter of the Lord. So from the beginning, from childhood, if it is possible. So as much as possible, as parents, we should try to guide them in this way. So it will be a blissful Krishna conscious experience for all of them. Otherwise, this will bring more and more unrestricted attachment, and then Viroda Yukta Krodha, and then anger, frustration, delusion, all this continuous chain of reactions. That's what will happen. Yeah. So that's what will happen. So those people who are not devotees also, they are also attached. Sometimes they are very attached, even not only family members, even the sometimes movie stars, sometimes whatever political stars, and so much attached, people go to suicide and whatnot because of this unrestricted attachment always. So devotees will not have so much problem of that, but still we need to transfer our attachment into more and more Krishna conscious way, even among our family members, among our parents, among our friends, to the extent, depending on seeing the level. We shouldn't force anybody into the path of religion if they are not interested. What can be done? But our duty is, but everybody, for everybody, we can give prasad. There is no problem. And so who will not want to receive? We can always arrange that. That is the best way. Prabhupada. And the next verse, Krishna himself is talking about it, 65 or 66. So that's how it is important to distribute the prasadam. That is the best way to actually help a person. So that is the way I would say. Means we can gauge it to the degree where the effect is more and more on our consciousness. So that means this is unrestricted attachment. If it is only for that day, for a few moments, for a few days, 1-2 days, that's okay. That's why Shastra is given 11 days when somebody passes. Why? That 11 days is also for the generally for lower category, fourth category, Sudras, then Vaisyas, Kshatriyas maybe. But for Brahmanas, it is only 3 days. 3 days. For devotees also generally, those are little more advanced, 3 days only. Because the consciousness, they are not lamenting so much. They are operating on the Krishna conscious level. They are so that's why even if the family members also still they know what's happening. But if that's why this is the question they ask. If you are attached, how much effect you have? You're lamenting, you're crying. That means you cannot go on the altar. You cannot enter into the temple. That consciousness is the one which is gauging, which is guiding us to the what degree, whether it's unrestricted attachment or you have devotional attachment. Yeah, I would say this unrestricted attachment means material attachment. More percentage is material, very tiny portion is. But if it is a attachment with a devotion, then naturally it's a regulated attachment. That's what these verses are telling is general 90% or 95% people are in this materialistic attachment, unrestricted attachment. But that must be transferred to the regulated attachment. That means attachment with devotion. Attachment must be there. You can't give up attachment. You can't give up your senses. You can't give up eating. You can't give up sleeping. You can't give up defending. But transferring that is the important aspect Krishna is talking about. Activities we cannot give up. Attachment we cannot give up. But raga, dvesha, vimukta is, let's say, videya atma. That is what important I mentioned in the beginning of the club. A regulation. There must be regulation in our attachment, in our eating, in our sleeping. Everywhere there should be regulation. That means just bringing Krishna in that activity. That is what regulation is. Nothing else. It's not. We are not talking about so much austerity. We are not talking about penance. We are not talking about so much. It is just bringing Krishna into that picture in each and every activity. This belongs to Krishna. This person belongs to Krishna. This activity belongs to Krishna. Gradually, it takes time. Practically acting on that platform is not going to be so easy. But at least theoretically we know, and then slowly, gradual practice by the mercy of the Lord, by the mercy of pure devotee. Yes, we can come to that platform very, very quickly. So, yeah, that's what we can say.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nicely explained. What is material, what is spiritual attachment, and we can see based on our consciousness how much we are feeling for it, yeah.
Yes.
And how to think about them as Krishna's servants from that perspective. If you are like serving and feeling that attachment, then that's okay, that's spiritual. So very nicely explained. Thank
Yes,
you,
that is
Prabhuji.
regulated attachment. So that's why we can see Jananivas Prabhu, Pankajangra Prabhu, their mutual relationship. There's the regulated attachment. So naturally, as devotees, between any devotees, yes, that because we are thinking, oh, I have left that association so much nicely, you are serving devotees and the Lord, then yes, that attachment is a regulated attachment. So even we may cry, we may do, but still it's not going to really actually damage our consciousness. It's not going to affect our consciousness actually in serving our day-to-day activities. But the other side is completely it affects, and then whoever we are associated with, they also get affected. So that also is a problem is there. So that's what we have to be cautious of. Okay. ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच। हरे कृष्णा। गंधराज श्रीमद भागवतम भगवद गीता की जाए, श्री प्रभुपाद की जाए, गौर भक्तों की जाए।